A man in a charcoal suit walked into Sushi Genji for his birthday dinner. The master chef took one look at him and raised his knife.
Barbarian.
The counter froze. Not a single patron moved or breathed. The guest did not flinch. He simply sat, watching the chef with dark, unreadable eyes.
You walk in here and order anything fresh. Omakase is not a cheap buffet. Your palate is uneducated.
Still, the man said nothing. The silence was louder than any protest. From behind the kitchen door, the apprentice Yuria saw everything. Her hand tightened on the tea tray. She moved in quiet defiance and placed a green tea by the man's hand. A small act of grace. The man's eyes shifted to the cup, then to the apprentice. A silent thank you passed between them.
Yuria, how dare you serve this man? Take the tea back. He doesn't belong here.
He's just a customer. Why does Master Masaru hate him so much?
Omakase is a sacred trust. You walk in here with no reservation etiquette and mumble anything fresh. This is not a vending machine.
Then I misjudged. I thought this was a restaurant where anyone could enjoy a meal.
A restaurant, yes, but you need the palate to match. You are not from that world. Stay in your lane.
Thank you for the tea. It was a cold walk here.
Please, enjoy it, sir.
Silence. Back to your station this instant. You've done enough damage for one night.
Yuria bowed her head and withdrew, but not before her eyes met the stranger's one last time. The chef's words hung in the air, but the patrons exchanged uneasy glances. No one was enjoying this. The man simply lifted the teacup and drank, as if the storm around him were nothing but a breeze.
You've been shouting for 5 minutes. It must be exhausting, carrying all that fear.
Fear? I am protecting 40 years of tradition from tourists who treat my counter like a conveyor belt.
Protecting it from what? A man who simply asked for a meal on his birthday. You seem terrified of something else.
A ripple of murmurs spread through the customers. They had never seen anyone speak to Master Masaru like this.
I am terrified of ignorance, of the death of craftsmanship. You cannot understand what this counter means.
And yet, it's not the counter that's on the line tonight. It's your reputation, and theirs.
Several patrons shifted in their seats. The word reputation hung like a blade over the quiet room.
Who are you to lecture me about my restaurant's standing? You are nobody.
Maybe nobody. Maybe exactly the person who has been sitting quietly while you made a scene. Either way, the damage is done.
Masaru opened his mouth to retort, but no words came. For the first time, his eyes flickered with something like uncertainty.
Enough. Leave. Now, I won't serve someone who doesn't respect the sanctity of this counter.
I have a reservation, and it's my birthday. I won't be ordered out of a restaurant I booked months ago.
A birthday? That's your excuse? This isn't a family diner. The date on your calendar means nothing here.
What it means is I followed your rules. Reservation made, time kept, dress appropriate, and still you refuse.
Masaru's smirk faltered. The man's logic was airtight, and the other guests were listening closely.
Rules? I am the rule here. My counter, my decision, and I decide you are not fit to taste my omakase.
You are making a mistake. A much bigger one than you realize.
The words landed with an unexpected weight. Masaru's hand, still holding the knife, trembled almost imperceptibly.
Why isn't he afraid? Who is this man?
The restaurant held its breath. No one moved, but the air was thick with a quiet no one could name.
This counter is my soul. 40 years of waking before dawn, my hands in the rice. You don't get to judge that.
And when the counter was about to be sold for parts, who paid for a second chance?
All color drained from Masaru's face. The knife in his hand grew heavy.
How do you know about the bankruptcy? That was private. Only a handful knew.
The counter nearly became firewood. The sign almost shattered. Then, overnight, the debts vanished.
He knows details no outsider could have. This isn't a rumor.
Masaru's fingers trembled around the knife handle, the steel now a mirror of his doubt.
You must have heard rumors, stories. That's all. You know nothing.
If it were nothing, you wouldn't be shaking. Your silence 10 years ago hid more than debt.
What do you want from me? Who are you?
This counter was 1 week from being sold for scrap. The cherry wood, the lacquered sign out front, all of it, almost firewood.
Masaru's knife hand shook. The tip of the blade scraped across the cutting board, a screech that cut the silence.
How? How could you know that? It was never public. It was a private failure.
Because I watched it happen. I saw the offers, the desperation, the final notice on the door.
He knows too much. Someone must have told him about the past. You've been fed stories by someone. You are twisting something you don't understand.
But Masaru's voice cracked on the last word. His staff, who had never seen him tremble, stood frozen.
Master, what is this?
If I am twisting nothing, then why are your hands shaking? Why did your voice just break?
The chef had no answer. For the first time in 40 years, Masaru stood behind his counter with nothing to say.
Enough of this. Someone get him out of my restaurant. Call security.
But no one moved. The staff only looked at the floor, too frightened or too curious to obey. The man in the charcoal suit stood. His movement was unhurried, almost casual. He placed a single card on the counter. It was a simple business card, bearing a single elegant symbol he hadn't seen in a decade. Masaru snatched it up, his fingers still trembling. He squinted at the seal, and his whole body went rigid.
This is the mark of the silent investor, the one who saved the counter from the auction block. Where did you get this? That symbol, it's been 10 years. No one has seen it since the bankruptcy.
You recognize it, then. Good, that saves time.
The restaurant grew deathly still. Even the steam from the teacup seemed to hold itself suspended.
What is happening? Why is Master Masaru so afraid of a piece of paper?
It can't be. That symbol, it's a ghost from 10 years ago. Who are you really?
The person you just called a barbarian, and the person who knows exactly how close this counter came to being sold for scrap.
A sharp intake of breath rippled through the patrons. Eyes darted to the card on the counter. Yuria felt her heart stop. The silent investor. He'd been watching them all along. An older diner recognized the symbol and whispered to his neighbor about the day the debts vanished.
You are twisting things. This card could be stolen. It proves nothing.
If it proves nothing, then why are your hands trembling? Why are you about to lose everything you built?
He's going to destroy me, in front of everyone I've ever served.
Yuria's hand flew to her mouth. Her master had never looked so small.
The investor never interfered with my kitchen, never showed his face. You are just a con artist who heard old rumors.
Then I'll show you something that can.
This card means nothing. A piece of paper can't make you the man who saved this restaurant.
What are you doing? What's in your coat?
The man didn't answer. He simply slipped his hand inside his jacket, fingers closing around something heavy. Masaru's breath caught. The apprentice in the corner froze mid-step, tea tray rattling.
If you are the investor, why now? Why wait 10 years to walk through that door?
Because tonight is my birthday, and I wanted to eat at the place I saved. That's all.
The restaurant had never been this silent, not even during the closing scare 10 years ago. His hand vanished into the breast of his coat. The room held its breath. From inside his coat, he drew a folded sheet of paper, yellowed at the edges. He unfolded it with deliberate slowness, and the room saw the seal. Principal Backer 2015. It was the original investment agreement, the contract that had resurrected Sushi Genji from bankruptcy.
That seal, it's genuine. The ink, the paper, exactly as I remember.
You remember, so you know what this is.
He has the contract, the only copy that ever existed, the one that can revoke everything.
The patrons gasped. Some rose from their seats. Others clutched their chopsticks. Unable to look away, Masaru's world narrowed to that piece of paper. He saw the end of his name, his life's work.
How? How did you get that? Only the investor himself could possess it.
The man in the charcoal suit said nothing. He simply held the document up, letting the truth speak for itself.
I am the silent investor who saved Sushi Genji in 2015. 80 million yen. This restaurant exists because of me.
The knife slipped from Masaru's hand and clattered onto the wooden cutting board.
Number, you. It was you.
The 80 million yen figure burned into the silence. Every patron could see the number on the document. Gasps rippled through the restaurant. Some diners covered their mouths. Others stared at the young man in the charcoal suit.
You refused to serve me, called me a barbarian, but without me, you wouldn't have a counter to stand behind.
I didn't know. 10 years. I never knew your face. Please.
The arrogant chef who had scorned a man for his simple order was now begging. The irony was not lost on anyone.
I didn't come here to collect on a debt. I came to eat. On my birthday.
The restaurant held its breath. The power had completely shifted, and everyone waited for what came next.
The contract renews next month. Without my signature, the name Sushi Genji disappears forever.
Next month. If he refuses the sign outside, the counter I've stood at for 40 years, it all vanishes.
The licensing of the brand, the recipes, the very right to call this place Sushi Genji, it all rests on my decision.
Masaru's legs buckled. The man who had never knelt for anyone sank to the floor behind his own counter.
Please, don't take it away. This counter is my life. I'll do anything.
Takeshi looked down at the kneeling chef. No pity, no satisfaction, just a silent, unreadable mask. The patrons stared, frozen. No one had ever seen Master Masaru on his knees. The sight was almost too raw to watch.
I built this place with my own hands. Every grain of rice, every slice of fish. Please let me keep my counter.
The man in the charcoal suit only stood there, saying nothing, as if weighing the soul of the chef before him. The restaurant had never been this silent. Masaru's sobs were the only sound, raw and broken.
If you want me gone, I'll close the restaurant myself. Spare the name, please.
The man's face remained stone, giving no hint of his thoughts.
I'll erase Sushi Genji. You'll never see my face. Don't let 40 years die because of my arrogance.
Yuria's eyes glistened. She'd never seen her master so broken, unsure which way the judgment would fall. The man let the silence stretch, fingers resting on the folded contract.
I'll sign anything. Give up the license, recipes, everything. Just don't let my arrogance kill what I built.
A whisper from one of the patrons. Is he going to take it all? He offered no mercy, but no final blow either.
Please, I've given my whole life to this counter. Just say something.
Still, he said nothing. His eyes held a question no one in the room could answer.
I didn't come here to destroy you. I came to eat here on my birthday.
Then you'll spare it? You'll let me keep my counter.
But I won't renew the contract unless something changes. Tonight has to be the last night of arrogance.
Anything. I'll change everything. Just tell me what you want.
Hope flickered across Masaru's tear-stained face for the first time since the contract appeared.
One rule. A simple revision to how you serve. That's the price of renewal.
A rule. Anything. I'll agree to it. Please, just name it.
The man in the charcoal suit paused, letting the weight of the demand settle over the room.
Omakase must be served to any reservation holder, regardless of dress or background. That is the rule.
The words hung like a new law, reshaping everything Masaru had built his reputation on.
Humility. Yes, I will serve any person who holds a reservation with honor and respect. I swear this.
He nodded frantically, tears still cutting tracks down his aged face.
And the apprentice who risked her station to serve me tea tonight, she understood humility long before you did.
Masaru's gaze flickered toward the kitchen door where Yuria stood, a flicker of deep shame crossing his features.
I will have the revised contract drawn up immediately. You will sign it with this new rule written in permanent ink.
I'll ask Yuria to stand as witness. She should see this change. She deserves to witness the rebirth.
He gestured weakly toward the kitchen, a broken man, trying to rebuild his legacy with the very kindness he had punished.
She will have a permanent place in this restaurant's future. That is my other condition, non-negotiable.
The room held its breath once more, a new tension emerging, not of fear, but of fragile, cautious hope. Masaru bowed his head low, the weight of the new rule settling over him like a mantle he never thought he'd be worthy to wear. Takeshi held out the revised contract, the new clause gleaming under the lantern light. Masaru's trembling hand reached for the pen. The same hand that had held a knife against a man now held salvation. He pressed his name onto the paper, the ink a silent signature of surrender and rebirth.
Please, let me serve you omakase tonight. Let these hands that wronged you now honor you.
He brought his hands together, not in begging now, but in a solemn oath. Takeshi lowered his head once, a silent consent that echoed louder than any command. Masaru bowed so deeply his forehead nearly touched the wooden floor, his tears dotting the grain. The patrons watched this transformation in stunned silence, their own dinners forgotten. Slowly he rose, his knees aching, but his heart lighter than it had been in a decade. The signed contract lay between them, the new rule now etched as deep as the old black ink. Masaru wiped his tears on the sleeve of his chef's coat and rose with the steadiness of a reborn man.
Everyone, tonight we prepare the best meal of our lives. Every piece will carry the weight of a new beginning.
Takeshi-san, thank you for returning the heart to this counter. Please allow us to serve you.
She was the only one who saw me as a guest from the start. This is where the change began.
Masaru picked up his knife again, not as a weapon, but as a sacred tool, its blade now a promise. The kitchen came alive with a quiet, focused energy, the sound of rice being fluffed, fish being sliced, and a new chapter unfolding.
This is the master I always believed in. Tonight, he's cooking for more than taste.
Takeshi watched the transformation in silence. The same hands that had dismissed him now moved with a desperate, reverent precision. The patrons, who had witnessed the humiliation, now witnessed the atonement. Their silence was no longer shock. It was reverence. On the cutting board, the first piece of omakase began to take shape, a delicate brush of nigiri sauce across the fish. Masaru placed the first piece of omakase before Takeshi with both hands, like an offering.
Please, taste the first bite of a new sushi, Genji.
Takeshi lifted the nigiri, its warmth barely perceptible against his fingers. He brought it to his lips, paused for a heartbeat, then closed his eyes. Masaru watched, his breath held, 40 years of craft hanging on one man's reaction. The flavor unfolded slowly, the rice just warm enough, the fish like silk, the wasabi a quiet fire. Then, slowly, the corners of Takeshi's mouth lifted, not a smile, but an opening, approval.
Does it meet your expectations?
It tastes like redemption.
Masaru bowed his head, tears threatening once more, and reached for the next piece of fish with hands steadier than they'd been all evening. Course after course arrived, each piece a story Masaru had never told with such intensity. Sea bream, toro, uni, every morsel placed with both hands in a bow, a silent apology in every motion.
This is the taste I waited 10 years for. Not just sushi. This.
He closed his eyes with each bite, letting the flavors wash away the earlier shame. The patrons sat spellbound, watching a chef's rebirth one grain of rice at a time. Masaru's forearms ached, sweat beaded his brow, but his knife never wavered. Yuria moved beside him, her presence a quiet reminder of the humility he had almost lost. The final piece, a perfect churro, was offered as if it were the most fragile truth. Takeshi accepted it in silence, holding the flavor for a long moment before nodding. The meal was done. The counter, once a battlefield, now hummed with a quiet, earned peace.
Yuria, step forward.
She moved forward, eyes still red from the long night, the tea tray no longer in her hands.
Tonight, you served more than tea. You served the heart of omakase when I forgot it. I see that now.
Master, I only did what felt right. I never meant to defy you.
Your hands are ready for your own counter. I give you my blessing to open a sister restaurant.
Her breath caught, a dream she'd never spoken aloud, suddenly named and offered.
I'll fund it. That's the permanent place I mentioned. She deserves to run her own kitchen.
I don't know what to say. Thank you. This is beyond anything I ever imagined.
She bowed so deeply her forehead nearly touched the floor, silent sobs shaking her shoulders. A soft applause rose from the patrons, a quiet salute to a new beginning, born from the embers of a shattered pride. Months later, Yuria opened a small sister restaurant in a quiet Ginza alley. Paper lanterns glowed with her name. Takeshi became her first regular, his quiet presence, a constant at the counter.
You are still the same, ordering anything fresh and trusting my hands.
Your hands have never failed me.
They married inside Yuria's dining room under the same lanterns that had witnessed their first kindness. Masaru, in his white chef coat, served the wedding course, each piece a prayer for their future.
This is the finest meal I have ever made for the two who taught me what it truly means.
They exchanged rings, and the small room filled with soft applause and the clink of sake cups. Three souls who had once nearly shattered now stood together, whole, and the green teacup from that first night sat on the counter, a silent witness to it all. Their hands, bound by rings and by a choice made in a quiet sushi counter, rested together. That same green teacup now sat on Yuria's counter, a permanent decoration. No tray, no ceremony, just a reminder. A single cup of green tea had started it all. One act of grace in a room full of judgment. It had taken a rule change and an apology to rebuild what arrogance nearly destroyed. But it had also taken a kind hand. The teacup remained where it had first been placed, on a counter that no longer turned anyone away. Two kitchens stood in Ginza that year. One reborn, one born from a blessing. And between them a bond no arrogance could sever. The sushi master who had once called a man barbarian now greeted every guest with both hands and a bow. And the young investor who had waited 10 years for a simple birthday meal now had a table waiting for him every night. In the end, it was never about omakase. It was about a cup of tea and the courage to serve it. The screen dims on the green teacup, a silent witness, a first kindness, and the beginning of everything.